Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back for a little surprise upload. Today I'm going to be reviewing these two units of dog here, and I'm going to go over some of their specs, their fuel efficiency, some of the known issues that these models are known to have. So I guess we'll just start with this one here. Now, this is a hybrid between the two popular German and Mexican brands, Chihuahua and Wiener Dog. And, well, I mean, it's not exactly useful for home protection, but it certainly will alert you to any threats. So I mean, if you're not interested in having high damage output, I guess it's a fine model to use. Other than that, I mean, in terms of performance, you're not going to get a whole bunch out of it. It runs at a max speed, being a hybrid. I calculated it should run about at highest, 22 and a half miles an hour. And, you're not getting this dog for anything else other than maybe to hunt mice and alert you to, dangers coming your way. But yeah, it's fine for what it is. It's not extremely expensive and it's fuel efficient. I can say that. Um, One of the benefits to getting a hybrid model is that it's not quite as yippy and stubborn as some Chihuahuas are known to be. So you're probably going to get a bit more of a bang for your buck here with with a hybrid model. It's always safe to go through that. Now I want to go through some of the known problems with this model that people have and that I've experienced myself. One of them being gum disease. I've had to take it to the repair shop a few times, having to deal with that. It's always a bit of an inconvenience. You have to drop a couple bucks on that. If that's something you're worried about, then maybe this model isn't for you. But I think the upsides certainly outweigh the downsides. Another thing, and this is likely more an issue due to the heat rather than anything else, is that it sheds everywhere. It's despite being extremely fuel efficient, there's no getting around it. It just sort of sheds all over the place and makes a mess. You got to clean up after it. It's nothing compared to this other model here. Just look at that. I vacuumed literally yesterday, and they just don't stop doing that. Being a smaller breed in terms of energy consumption, of course, it doesn't need nearly as much fuel, and it's not quite as active as my other model here, but overall respectable, I'd say, in terms of all of its specs, all of its stats, probably about, if I'm rating it out of 10, I'm going to give it a 7, just because, it's not going to it won't it doesn't really stack up against most other models, but for what it is, it's a good little alarm system to have in your house. Just beware of the fact that there are some issues with it, but I would always go with the hybrid instead of any purebreds. Just far less performance issues and way less trips to the repair shop down the line. So going over this model, I don't exactly know what brand this is, so I'm not going to pretend like I actually know any of its specs really. My best guess is that it's probably from the brand Labrador, maybe a mix of a Rottweiler, but again, it's hard to tell. If I am going off of those estimates, it should be able to run around 35 miles per hour, which is pretty good for most dogs. That's a pretty high speed, certainly faster than any human can run. Some of the issues with this model. Well, the repair person at the shop told me it could have some structural issues in the future once it gets on in years, I guess. But any model will acquire problems with age. That's just how these machines tend to be. I mean, in terms of damage output, it's no pit bull, but it should certainly be more of a formidable threat than this thing over here, this little squirt. But on the fuel economy side of things, one of the issues I've had with this model in particular that maybe other people haven't really experienced is that its fuel tank isn't exactly reliable. It seems to have a lot of issues a lot of the time, so you have to buy a lot of the really higher end food for it. It's a bit of an inconvenience, and it does run up in expenses, but it's worth it. I mean, this is definitely a model that will scare off any intruders coming into your house. Good home defense, good security. Overall, even though I have no idea what brand it actually is, I have to say I am a really big fan of the sleek overcoat and the tan highlights on it. Definitely a very cool paint job. Wouldn't have it any other way. Now, again, I just wanted to go over another issue with both of these models, which is the shedding. And I don't think that's an issue with with these units themselves. I think it's more just a product of where I live, which is a very hot place. If I had to review this unit overall out of 10, I'd give it definitely a 9. Certainly no major structural issues or any health problems overall, but it is something to watch out for in the future, just in case. I would definitely recommend both of these units if you're looking for something more mild-tempered, and if you're not exactly concerned with, extreme damage output. Something interesting about having a model with a bit of a higher intelligence stat is that you can actually you can program them to do certain things for you. Here, come here, where are you going? All right, sit, shake. See, it's a very interesting little thing that they can do. Not exactly sure where it picked that up, but it certainly did somewhere. Yeah, overall, these are very good models. I'm not sure what brand this one is again. This one I'm fairly certain is just a Chihuahua sort of wiener dog thing. Both of them are pretty fuel efficient. This one does require some of the higher end stuff, and it does kind of shed all over the place. But yeah, overall, I mean, very good products, very good units. Certainly haven't failed me yet, and they should have. You shouldn't need to replace them any less often than 12 or so years. So overall, I'd recommend these to anybody. If anybody could identify what unit this is, what brand maybe, that'd be much appreciated. It does require that you touch it very often, especially on its head. I don't know what that's about really, but it does certainly seem to appreciate that. It will get a little bit uppity, like it is now, if you don't do that. Oh yeah, another thing I want to mention is they sort of bicker with each other sometimes. I'm not sure if that's a defect really, like a modeling issue, but it certainly could be, so watch out, I guess. Anyways, that concludes today's review. If you want to see more reviews, just let me know, I guess. Or don't. Go away.